Welcome to Stars, Stripes, and Stress, where the tournament has finally begun. Group play is over. We're recording this late Sunday night. Our fellow host, Canada, has already advanced to the Sweet 16, round of 16, whatever we want to call it, America. Now, before I let Hoy in, I want to start off with a test. Hoy, you failed this miserably last week. Where do we have to start this episode off? There's one topic we got to start with. Where should we start?
I can't get Korea not making it out of group stage. So outside of that, I got nothing for you, man. My mind is such fog. We had a 97% chance of making it out of that group stage after our first game, and somehow our coach decided to just throw that all away and bench our best player in the most meaningful game of the year. Like, that's crazy. I can't. I'm over the World Cup. I'm on to USA. Let's go.
To pull back the curtain, I had room for Hoy to talk about Korea. Now, it was at the very end. It's literally the last thing that I had on here. But no, Hoy, you're supposed to talk about Messi. This is 2 weeks in a row. You failed miserably. You have to start with Messi. He did it again. And now this is one where it's going to look a lot better 10 years from now than it does right now. Because, okay, so Messi does not start Argentina's last group play game. Comes in the 60th minute because Argentina's already clinched a spot. I don't know if they had already won the group, but they had already clinched a spot in the next round. So they just semantics
They won
at
the
that
group.
point. They definitely won the group now because
Yeah.
Messi came in the game. but I don't remember if they had already won it. Either way. So Messi comes in the 60th minute and he scores because that's all he does is he scores again. Now, if you actually want to go find the replay of the goal, it's off a free kick and you're going to get real excited when you read that. You're like, oh my God, Messi scored off a free kick. And then you go and watch the replay, and it's a very, he's had probably 50 better shots on free kicks in his career that didn't result in a goal. And this one did.
Yeah.
And
Hey.
so, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, it's going to look a lot better in 10 years. But all that being said, he scored, whatever. He put the ball in net and it went in. And he has scored in 7 straight World Cup games. He just keeps collecting accolades that are going to be tough to break. The guy, it's unbelievable. And you can either go how unbelievable he is or how pissed Cristiano must be about just this whole thing. Because he's sitting on his couch like, number one, that goal's BS. He's like, I've had 12 shots this tournament that are better than that. Like, he's thinking
Well, I
that
don't
goal's
even know if
BS.
he's touched the ball 12 times. So
That's fair. That's fair. He has. But and so that's what I was gonna say. Number two, like Cristiano is getting hit way too hard for like his career entirety. Like just because Cristiano hasn't aged as gracefully as Messi has, like clearly at this point there is no comparing the two. Messi is head and shoulders above what Cristiano's been able to do. But everybody needs to get off Cristiano's back. He had one of the greatest careers ever. He's one of the greatest soccer players ever. He's just not right now. And there's a good chance, we're going to get into these round of 32 games here. Like, there's a good chance Portugal actually loses this game to Croatia. Like, they're a slight favorite, but, let's just get out in front of it. Cristiano doesn't suck if they lose this game. Like, it's just the truth. Like, Portugal's a little down. It just is what it is. So, either way, Messi, Cristiano, before we get into the United States, do you have anything? I don't want to hear anything more about Korea. We got that out of the way.
all I know is you're saying this is my fault that we left out Messi 2 weeks in a row to start. I'm not giving him his flowers. Okay. It's just, I feel like everyone's talking about him, and obviously he is the GOAT. So props to you, Messi, for doing it all your entire career and keeping it up at this age, man. He's a beast. He's a beast.
All right. All right. USA, Turkey. Turkiye. Let's start there real quick. Now, it was, I've said deja vu a couple times on this podcast, but it was kind of deja vu from the Germany game where Germany was our second friendly game. We took a lot of our starters out for that Germany game we played, and you felt it. You felt it in the strategy, in the way we played, and it was similar to this Turkey game or Turkiye game, which I'm going to keep pronouncing their country's name wrong. we brought in 10 new starters. Like, it was a completely new lineup. Not to say that, we shouldn't have the depth to compete with them. And we did compete with them. We lost 3-2. And, we brought in a couple guys at the end, I think, just to keep them game ready. So Policious does come in and play those last 20, 30 minutes, whatever he played. And he did have a couple, I don't know, I guess looks. Like, it looked like he looked fine. Like, if you're going to take one thing away from this whole game and try to keep it positive, I would say Christian looked healthy. Is what I would say. Other than that, we got the first goal right off the bat. Everybody that had been following this team is like, oh my God, this is destiny. Like, we're just going to roll this team. Here we go. And then pretty quickly, they come back and they score, and then they score again. And then USA ends up tying it up right off the bat in the second half. And you kind of think the same thing. Again, like, this is kind of destiny. Like, we came in, Pochettino gave him a good halftime speech. Um, Tied the game up. And even if we would have ended at a 2-2 tie, I think America would have been pretty happy with that. But that is not how the game ended. Similar to that dang Germany game, we gave up one at the very end. Lose the game 3-2. It didn't matter. We had the group already won. Took a little air out of our balloon, I would say, just a little bit. But I've been rambling a lot. What did you think about this game?
Uh, so I don't want to be against Pochettino at this point. Did I hit the name right? Did I get the name right at
Yeah, oh,
this
you
point?
nailed it. That's
Okay,
your first time.
okay.
That was good.
I know. I had to take a breather to really like concentrate there. Um, but okay, he has really done nothing wrong quite yet. So I'm not gonna go and say he did some terrible mistake, but I don't like the message that he was sending. My notes are less of, oh, like, obviously you just said we benched our entire team basically against this team for most of the game, except for I think it was McKennie, right? I just don't understand what his message was. Because if your message is, oh, we advanced and we don't care about this game at all, why are we risking bringing Pulisic even in, Destin, and all these guys towards the end of the game when it even got a little bit chippier towards the end? Because Turkey wanted that win. They wanted to show some pride, and it got a little chippy. Like, why are we bringing them in if you're actually saying that we don't care? And if you're trying to send a message that we are elite and we can compete, well, that I don't think that was the way to do it. If anything, start hot, send a clear message, and then take your guys out. The way he went about it, I think it was a little reckless. And yes, I guess we did compete with that team, but I think Turkey competed just as much with us. And it's our bench, but still, like, it's not the message you want to be giving the fans who have been on fire right now, jumping on this train, and we're all wanting to see a brilliant game and at least something fun, and hoping for a win. And I don't think that's the feeling people got with the loss coming out of this and going into this next round. I think he kind of lost some of that edge that he had, and I don't like the press conference he had after either.
Oh,
He's
I was ready. I was
I,
ready.
I,
So,
the
so
last two
let me.
episodes, you called me out on not watching the post game interview, so I watched it this time. Okay, but I wasn't happy with it. Just to start off, right off the bat, I was
All
not
right,
happy.
let me take us through it. Hold on. I gotta stop you there. Let me take us through it. So,
All right.
Pochettino comes up to the podium, and a couple questions were asked, and then he essentially says, "All right, everybody, stop. Why have I not been congratulated yet for taking this team and winning this group? Like, why have there been three questions that have been, A, why did you not play these guys? And basically everything you said. Like, you hit everything the reporter said in the post game right off the bat, and he just said, "Stop. Why has nobody congratulated me on this yet?" And I couldn't sit there and but think like, God, I love this guy. Like, the balls on this guy to come up, and because that's not how we do it here. And like he's out of his mind if he thought that he was gonna come up to like champagne sitting there, unless he won the game 3-0. You win the game 3-0, or even like I said, even if that game ends 2-2 tie, like maybe he can come up there with his chin held a little bit higher, but you lost. And it wasn't pretty, and there's questions now, kind of like you said, and he didn't want to hear any of them.
And okay, so I'm was really upset that his approach was more like he played defensive a little bit. He's trying to say like, hey, we made it. Like, everyone pump the brakes, but guess what? I called it during the Australia game, and basically Turkey abused that midfield in the transitions, even against your
Mhm.
bench. But you're showing no change in that. And okay, if you're some savant coach and you're saving this for the next game, all right, I will commend you, and I will take all this back next after this first game. But if I see that same weakness, then this is the thing I'm talking about: is you played two weak teams to start, and you got Turkey. And to be fair, I'm going to say Turkey was probably the second strongest team in that group. Just tough outcome for them. They had the most shots on goal in the entire World Cup and most shots taken, period. Like, they just couldn't put one in the back of net. It's unlucky sometimes, too. So, I mean, I'm not going to say, like, they deserve to be there. But at the same time, they were a tough team. I think that was a time where we can kind of shut a lot of the doubters up, shut some of these European teams that might be scoffing at us almost for not technically being in that tier one conversation. Where I think we're on that cusp, maybe, but this was a game we could have solidified that and put that message across and put a little fear in these other teams to just be like, hey, these guys are actually playing. Like, we need to look out for them. Um, but I lost that. So I don't know. I want that back. So Poach, come on.
All right, let's put it behind us now. Let's look forward. We are into the round of 32.
That
We
we are.
have Bosnia coming up. And again, there's a hyphen and there's a lot to this country's name, but I'm going to call them Bosnia. Is that okay? I'm not offending anybody. I hope not across the world if I just shorten their name to Bosnia, right? Is that okay?
I think
I think we're
it'll be just
okay.
fine. It'll be just fine.
Okay. No, nobody's going to cancel us on that. Okay, we're going to be all right. So, before we get too far into this, the first thing I did was I just went and looked through Bosnia's last, we'll call it 8 games. And it was actually a little bit shocking. So, all the way just in 2026, well, actually, let's go back. So, November 2025, they played a couple qualifying games. So, they tie 1-1 to Austria. And then just moving forward, they didn't qualify for the World Cup until like late March this year. So they were one of the teams that like they play those last couple games and you have to win to advance. And so they tie Wales 1-1 and win on PKs in the last qualifying tournament for the World Cup. And then in the final game, they are the ones that actually sent Italy home. So they're the reasons that Italy wasn't in this, they weren't here this year, is because Bosnia again 1-1. So that's the third 1-1 game in a row they've played, one in penalties versus Italy. So, to your point of a couple of those teams that we've played that have packed the box, I think we're going to be seeing that a little bit. Let's keep going. They played a friendly versus North Macedonia. 0-0 in a friendly. Hey, maybe try something to get a little offense. Clearly, offense is your issue. Nope, 0-0. Again, friendly versus Panama, 1-1. Tournament starts, plays Canada, 1-1. They tied 6 straight games coming into the tournament, and then their first game in the tournament they tied. Then they get wrecked by Switzerland 4-1, and then they come back and they beat Qatar 3-1. So that's been their World Cup journey so far. Whew. You got to think we are a massive, 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 massive favorite coming into this game. Nothing in their past year and a half worth of results shows anything but we should run this team. Do you feel any different?
So here's my one concern. Okay. And it's the same thing I said at the start of Australia. And I think Turkey also started to figure it out towards the second half of that game as well. We are bad in transition, and that's the thing Bosnia has thrived on. The only times they really score are either set pieces or off the transition. They're not making crazy plays by, passing it around on your half. They are playing a pretty defensive game a lot of the time. So it's going to look quite similar to how it did with Australia. It's going to look like we're going to lean heavily on Tyler Adams and McKennie on that midfield to close up some of those passes. Otherwise, they're going to get opportunities. Now, I mean, obviously, if our offense is hot and we can put a couple in the net early, that'll also change their strategy and their game. But that's just something that we've been talking about throughout our analytics so far, and just something to keep an eye on. I just think this game's going to be really big, lean on Tyler Adams and McKennie in the center field there.
Oh, I would agree. Lineup wise, I'm assuming it's going to be exactly what it was game 1 of the World Cup versus Paraguay. Wouldn't There's no reason it should be any different. It actually would be shocking if it was anything but that at this point. Um, yeah, like I said, I don't want to look ahead and I don't want to get people too excited. We are minus 270 is what they got us at. So almost 3-1 favorites actually. So yeah, we're heavy favorites. That is to your point about, are we on the same level as everybody else? As far as the odds are concerned, that is about the same as everybody, but your boys, but Argentina's playing your boys from Cape Verde. Besides that game, that would, if you want to bet on an underdog and win some money, right now they got your boys from Cape Verde at plus 1700 in that game.
Hey, that's a 1-0 game right there. Cape Verde. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Versus Argentina. Sorry if I buried that lead. Yeah, Argentina, Cape Verde.
I haven't given
So
Messi flowers yet. Why start now, right?
yeah. Okay. So if you don't have anything left on Bosnia, I've already kind of started the transition, but I did kind of want to look at a couple of these round of 32 games. A couple of them did poke out to me a little bit. I had already mentioned the Portugal Croatia game. If you're looking for a game that's just going to be close, that game to me is probably a coin flip. And they're both good teams, both traditionally strong programs. So and besides the Brazil Japan game, which I would also say that one's probably going to get the most eyes. If you're looking for just like both these teams are good, Brazil Japan's probably the one in this round that's going to grab your attention the most. And then maybe Belgium Senegal would be the third one I would have.
Oh,
That
you're
like
you're
if you're
missing
looking
the most
for,
important one. You're missing the
am I?
most
Am
important
I?
one.
Well,
Yep.
what am I missing? What am I missing?
Netherlands Morocco is the one I'm saying is
Okay.
the game of the week. Game of
Okay.
the week. If you're talking about competition, um, and two real dark horses, outside of Brazil and Japan, that's my I think I called both of those on my when we were talking about our dark horses and our
You
top
did.
teams. I think one of those two teams coming out are going to put up a real fight, and that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and I think since we've talked about that, Netherlands have played well. They won that group. Morocco has probably left a little on the table, right? So they're probably, which it doesn't mean they can't put it all together in this round, but they came into the tournament with a lot of hype and probably have, just done okay to this point. But that is a good one. You're right, and so let's talk about it through the lens of this. So the tournament expanded from 32 teams to 48 teams. Now, you're getting a lot of people saying that took away from the group play games, which I think it did. So it's very, very similar to what college football is doing right now, where, 4 years ago, every single college football game mattered to the highest, utmost intensity. Like you couldn't lose. If you lose one college football game, you're out of the playoff. Like maybe you can lose one, but you're pretty much done. Same with if there's only 32 teams in the World Cup. You lose one World Cup game, it's code red. Like we gotta win, and we gotta win both these next two games. Like we're in trouble. And that is not the case anymore. Other than like honestly, I made the joke about Korea that we weren't going to talk about them again, but they were probably the only team that was expected that to advance that didn't advance. You know what I mean? Like I would say, not to just kick you while you're down, but like you are the only country that didn't get it done.
In an expanded group too, like it's just stop. I just can't.
Like
Just
it's not
can't.
even. I know, and everybody made it, and so let's put Korea aside. So the lack of quality or intensity of the group play games, that should lead to better knockout stage. Like, so if you were going to take a little away from that, it kind of like the college football playoff where we got more games, those first couple games in the college football playoff were really, really good. So now we're hoping the round of 32, we're going to see some really, really good games. And the Canada game today was good. It was intense. Just seeing a team win, advance in a knockout game in the 90th minute is intense. Like that's exciting. I don't care who you are. That's exciting. Um, but France, Sweden, Germany, Paraguay, like all of these, like even Spain, Austria, like you never know if it's 0-0 in the 70th minute, like these games are going to get intense and some of these teams are going to lose. Like there is no way. I would be shocked. I would be completely shocked if all top 8 teams advanced. You know what I mean? If it went completely chalk. Like this is so if you think about I'm going to keep going back to college. You think about NCAA men's tournament. It is pretty chalk in the first round as far as those top 4 seeds. Like usually if you're 1, 2, 3, 4 top 4 seeds, you're going to win the first round. Second round men's college basketball is when it hits the fan. And that's essentially what you're looking at here in the round of 32 is that second round. And so yeah, like I said, maybe don't bet Cape Verde, but if you wanted to look at some of these other teams, shoot, if you wanted to look at Austria, if you wanted to look at Paraguay, you want to look at Sweden, some of those, you want to look at Japan. Japan's not even really that big of an underdog, honestly. Um, yeah, I mean, I'd look at them. The Congo, why not? Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with a lot of these smaller countries too, I think what people are not realizing is they have not been here, or, if they have, it's been a really long time, right? And so when it comes to these international tournaments, there's so much pride on the line, and they are fighting for their lives. And so I think you made a good point. Like in the knockout stage, yes, I mean, some of these teams did play a little defensive. They thought they just needed a draw in a couple of these games, so they weren't as exciting. But these are you don't win, you go home, guys. Like everyone knows this. They're gonna fight. Every team will fight for their chances and really try to put some in the back of the net. I mean, defenses will be tighter though, so I mean, we're not always expecting like the 7-1 type of games, 5-1 Sweden wins or stuff like that. But these will be very fun games, guys. Just tune in.
Okay. Now, with all that in mind, I hate doing this. I don't want to do this, but we have to just for entertainment purposes. We're gonna look a little bit ahead. Um,
Down the
let's
line, down the
let,
barrel. Let's go.
I mean, so you have to. So I have the bracket up right now. Um, so we are essentially with Spain. If you were gonna break this down into quarters, and if everything went chalk, we would meet Spain in the quarterfinal. Um, and at that point, that's when you're going to meet the powerhouses, and so just to quickly look at, if this was I love to do it. If this was March Madness, we look at our just group of 4 here. You have Belgium and Senegal playing also tomorrow, or I'm sorry, also on Wednesday. And we would get the winner of that game. If we are, blessed enough to come out and beat Bosnia, we would be looking at either Belgium or Senegal. Belgium would be a European B powerhouse. It would be that level down. They had been up there in the past couple World Cups. Like if you go back to, maybe 2018, I think Belgium had a really, really, really strong team. It's not as strong as it once was. It's good, but it's not as strong. We've already played Senegal recently, where we're successful in that friendly. Oh man, we are at the point now where if we don't make it to the quarterfinals, that's where it's a failure. I think that's the line at this point. And it's funny, people were saying that at the beginning of the tournament, but they were just saying that blindly and it didn't really mean anything. And we hadn't really played any games and we didn't really know what kind of team we had. But now that we've played a couple games, the bracket's set, you're looking at everything as a whole, you got to make the quarterfinals. That's really where it's at, and then give us that game versus Spain on July 10th. Like, and the country's gonna go crazy. That's when, and then you're playing with house money at that point. Then you're with the elite at that point. You've done it. You've got your name up there. There's a little hype around your program. Got to get to the quarterfinals. What do you think about that? Just the tournament as a whole going forward.
I think if we're gonna call this the golden generation for USA, like some have, and this is the golden team, and we're gonna try to put ourselves in that elite conversation. I do agree with you. Anything less than the quarterfinals would kind of take away from that quite a bit. Not to say this is not a great run, and we don't have a solid team, and we're not playing great, but that is kind of the benchmark I think most people would try to put this at for us to really say, hey, like we belong here. This is what you guys should expect going forward.
Yeah, it's got to be, and that's when, from an entertainment standpoint, so round 2, you could see something like Germany, France, like that's one people are gonna get really excited about. Portugal, Spain. I just keep kicking Portugal. People really wanted Portugal, Argentina for the obvious reasons. Those were the 2 names I wanted to start the show about. Like that's who everybody wants to talk about. Just didn't happen. Portugal Spain is an equal, like that's a game. Like I mean, not the fact that just geography speaks for itself.
Yeah.
That's a huge second round game. Honestly, the fact that US, like we got a hell of a draw. Like the fact that we're looking at Bosnia and then Belgium, Senegal in round two, like it could have easily been England round two. It could have easily been Argentina round two. We got a hell of a draw. Like we are not until you get to the quarterfinal, you're not going to face a powerhouse. It's a heck. I mean, that's luck.
Yeah. And what's even crazy is I'm having us at quarterfinals with Croatia. I've watched their last few games and they're fun to watch, man. I don't know. I mean, not to dog on Spain, but the problem with Portugal and Spain is they've had a couple games where they've lapsed quite a bit. Not to say they didn't win or they didn't get the draw or whatever, but like they looked like they were. I don't know if it was winded. I don't know if it was like they just weren't in it. But there was some chemistry lapse and some fatigue or something going on with those two teams, especially on the defensive midfield side of the house. Croatia, I did not see any of that. Every game I've watched for Croatia, they look like they were running for their lives, like someone was chasing them, or like I don't know what it was, but they look like they're ready to play. So I wouldn't sleep on them. I think there is a good probability that we play them as well once we make it to that quarterfinal stage.
If any gamblers are listening, Hoy just might have gave you a nugget there. I don't know if these sports books are letting you make bets like this, but like Croatia to win 2 games of the knockout stage, like that would be, I imagine you'd get some really juicy odds on that. Because
I don't
like I
know,
said, you got to
but
go through,
they,
Portugal, Spain, probably.
that's what I'm
Like
saying. Two hard
that's
teams. I'm not saying that's gonna be a cakewalk, but I don't know. I think they have a good chance the way they're playing.
And so I guess we've kind of danced around it. Did you have a powerhouse that you thought in the first round here in the round of 32 is on the ropes the most? Have you looked through these games? Is there one that's that should be worried actually?
I mean, for the memes, do say Argentina? I'm just, I can't go that far. I mean, I like to dick around, but that's a little much. Honestly though, it's tough because it's who are we putting in that tier one conversation? Obviously, France and Argentina in the mix there. With Sweden also putting up a very good performance in their group. I mean, but
That's a good one.
France walked through their group though. I don't know it. Will that be the game that's should be looked at a little bit more? Or is France really just that elite and they're
Well,
just gonna breeze
France is
on
a
through?
heavy favorite. So if you wanted to look at that, I mean, that's France is minus 370. That's they're a heavy favorite over Sweden. So that would be another one where
I
if
don't
you
doubt
were,
that. I mean, I would
yeah.
say France and Argentina are the probably top two teams that are expected to make it to the finals here.
Yeah,
So
from what we've seen so far, I would agree. Those two have looked the best. Mbappe, we made the jokes about whatever happened is happening at Real Madrid is not happening when he plays for France here. He is
mhm.
back to being himself, and he looks dominant. So that's France is blessed to have that because he. I mean, honestly, what is his age? He's like 26, what now, or 27, whatever he is. Like he could easily be the best player in the world. Like, is that I know, like, he's probably fallen and he's probably like more of like 8 or 9 or 7 or 10 or whatever, these experts got him at. But like on any given day, that guy could be the best player in the world. So France has done it over and over and over again recently. So yeah, to your point, like they got to be one of the highest rated teams going into this. Um, so really of the big ones that we haven't talked about, it's really just Brazil. And they got a tough one here with Japan. I've kind of been dancing around this game a little bit. Is Brazil absolutely deserves to be in that top conversation, right?
I don't know about this year, man.
Ooh.
If we're talking about top, and that's why I think actually this Japan Brazil game is as big as we say. Because if we're talking their old teams where they're that tier one, then yes, they're probably probably should be a bigger favorite than they are right now. But I actually think Japan has their number and they're right there. This is going to be a closer game than we think and a better fight than we think.
There is some gambling nuggets being thrown out here by Hoy. Some of these are good. And you know what's funny? I do think, these are American sports books. Now they're very tuned in. Now these are some of the most powerful businesses. I know they're only like 5 years old, but like they are everywhere in the world. and it's wild the reach that these sports books have. But they know international soccer the least. Like, these guys live off of American sports and they'll let you gamble across the world, but their numbers are better with American sports. So there probably is some room to beat the books here a little bit on international tournaments like this where you don't have a lot of data to go off of and you never know. Shoot, maybe it's Norway's year. You know what I mean? Like maybe ha lan. If you saw the key appeal, you see that he did it again. You see it. That one made me laugh.
Earling ha 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 ah land. Is Earling ha 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 ah land in here?
So we're gonna end on
Okay.
that. The funniest part about that video was I didn't know the first three names, and you're sitting there like, okay, like yeah, this is kind of funny, but until he gets to Yamal, I'm like, I didn't even know the names he was going for at the beginning.
They just somehow seem to nail it every single time without fail, and it's pure gold. That's comedy gold right there.
And he's willing to do it on the spot. And that's how you know like you're talented AF. Is when they honestly, I bet he was just watching the game and someone's like, "Oh, it'd be really funny if we threw a couple names off here." And he's like, "Oh, hell yeah, let's do it." And he just turned around and ripped it off. Like and that's when you know you're just talented.
Mm.
And Michael K, well, I'm gonna butcher his name, whatever. He's from Michigan too. I can't believe I'm butchering his name right now. Is talented. Okay. Did I miss anything? I think we've hit it all. We've done pretty good so far.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily missed anything. I just want to say it's been a really fun World Cup watching the stars really shine too. A lot of goals from actual top players, and I think we'll hopefully continue to see that through the rest of the World Cup. Um, it's just been such fun time to watch. I do have a couple complaints about some of the rule changes, but overall, I think it's been an exciting World Cup.
So, knockout stage, round of 32, Wednesday, July 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Holiday almost weekend. You got to think that people are calling in sick on the second because you already get the third off. I mean, this one is asking for watch parties up the wazoo. I mean, there should be some really, really good watch parties that we get to experience FOMO through because we both have kids and we're not going to any of them. So,
It's actually my kid's summer break, so hey.
and we're burying one of the other leads. The game's in your hometown. We should have GoFunded Hoy and got him there. I mean, the game's an hour from your house. I mean, this isn't going to happen once in every ever. So that's pretty wild actually.
Is it crazy to think I was looking at tickets for us and I was like, man, 3K for nosebleeds, not that bad.
That's what I mean.
Is it
That's what it's
crazy?
gonna
Is
cost.
that crazy?
It's oh my gosh. It's like an entire family vacation in one afternoon that you're giving up. I mean, like you're talking a week long to pretty much wherever you want to go.
You wanna know what the worst part
Oh,
about this is? You wanna know what the worst part is? My dad and his friend acquired tickets to watch Korea. We had 8 tickets, me, my brother, my cousins, my dad, his friends, his kids. We were all so ready to go. We were all so ready to go.
you're talking round of 32.
Yep. Yep, and,
Oh,
we just had to drop the ball, man. It's so
I
sad.
think that's where we have to end it. So everybody, thank you for listening to Stars, Stripes, and Stress, where Hoy is capitalizing on the stress right now. Thanks for listening, everybody. Good night.
USA! USA!
Adios.
Stars!